Welcome to today's episode of Ask Me Anything Science Edition. Today's question comes to us from Cameron, a grade 6 student in Brampton, Ontario.
Hi, I have a science question. Why do we see stars when we get hit on the head?
Unfortunately, I have absolutely no idea the answer to that question. So, on to the next question. No, just kidding. I don't know the answer to the question, but I know someone who does. So I'm going to phone a friend. And that friend is Jay Ingram. He is the former host of The Daily Planet on the Discovery Channel. He is the former host of Quirks and Quarks on CBC Radio. And he's written a bazillion science books, the most recent a series called The Science of Why. So, let's call Jay. Hi, Jay.
Hello. So Cameron's question is a great question. And to answer it, you have to know a little bit about how we see, because even though our eyes are the things that we see with, most of the brain work that goes on to kind of understand what we're seeing as we look around the room is done here. It's a place called the visual cortex. It's at the back of the brain. And so all the messages, all the information from your eyes has to travel all the way to the back of the brain where it's analyzed. Now, why do we see stars? Let's say you're, I don't know, you're in the kitchen and a cupboard door is open and you don't know that and you bang the back of your head into the cupboard door. Well, it hurts, but also for a few seconds, you think you're seeing stars. But what's happened is that place at the back of your brain that is so crucial for getting vision going has been jarred by that impact. Either the brain hits the back of your skull or it's just the sudden movement of your brain in your skull. And that impact causes the brain cells back there to become active for a few seconds. Now, it's not what you're looking at that they're becoming active about. They're just sort of spontaneously bursting into activity. And so you get these little points of light that you see, and then they fade away and then you're fine. There's another way of doing it where you can actually involve your eyes. And I'm going to show you this, but you've really got to be careful doing it. All you have to do is take your fingers and push very gently, not hard, very gently on your eyes, preferably both.
Okay.
And if you wait for a while, you start to see patterns of light. Sometimes little crisscross things, sometimes waves of light moving around, sometimes
Ooh,
you
little
actually,
blue dots.
yeah, exactly. You've got light sensitive cells in your eyes. That's how you see. By pressing gently on your eyes, you're doing the same thing as hitting the back of your head. You're activating the cells in your retina. What's their job? To report to the back of the brain that they've been active. Well, they're active because they're not seeing light in this case. They're active because you've pushed on them, but they nonetheless send messages to the back. And again, you see stars. Not just stars, though, as I pointed out. You see colors, you see patterns, you see crisscross, all kinds of fantastic stuff. It's even been said that if you're just alone in a dark room, you may spontaneously start to see these. And for people, for prisoners in, let's say, in solitary, if the lights are off, this has been called the prisoner's cinema because it's about the only thing they can see. Now, so that's why you see stars, but let me give you two kind of cool offshoots from this. One is that cave paintings, 30,000 years old, most of these are in France and Spain in caves, literally.
Mm-hmm.
The people who painted these, they painted beautiful images of humans and animals, and sometimes they apparently took their hand and blew paint through their hand to leave an imprint of the hand on the wall. But there are also lots of places where these stars, technically they're called phosphenes, there are patterns like them on the cave walls. And people looking at this, archaeologists think, maybe they somehow stimulated their brains, probably not by knocking their head on a cave wall, but somehow created these patterns and then painted them directly on the wall. We'll never know, of course, that was 30,000 years ago, but it's a pretty cool idea. But coming up to today, one of the really interesting things that scientists are trying to do is help blind people see by stimulating the back of their brains electrically to create stars, and trying to do it in a way that if you can arrange them you can create letters, like letters in the English language, any language. And they've had some success. It's very, very early, but some success with one patient where she was actually able to make out letters just because they were happening to stimulate exactly the right parts of the back of her brain to create stars that would line up to make like a letter L or a letter A or whatever. So it's very early in the game for that. But these stars that you get when you hit your head may actually have some practical application for blind people.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks, Jay.
You're very welcome. And thanks, Cameron. Great question.
I think I may have overdone the pressing on my eyes thing a little bit because I'm still kind of seeing some flashes going on. There you have it. Now you know why you see stars when you get hit in the head. And if you want to learn more, make sure you pick up a copy of Jay's new book, The Science of Wi-Fi, coming out later this fall.
Honey! Oh, sorry, Mom. Thanks for watching Ask Me Anything Science Edition. And if you have any other questions, just let us know. Mom, you okay? Bye. She's good. She's good.